But if you look at the 3 decks he's brought, he does have something to considerably counter aggro. Typically, he'll probably ban the aggressive deck. And a lot of players this tournament have brought Hunter, Shaman, Warrior, and Druid. And right now, against Cydonia, he just has favorables across the board. Cydonia was forced out to ban the Priest.
I mean, Mecha'thun Priest is a threat, but Mecha'thun Priest can draw really badly if you don't find Hemet. That matchup is very, very difficult. Well, any matchup actually is very difficult. The deck does not deal with aggression particularly well. The deck doesn't beat a control opponent unless it gets through its entire deck, gets the combo, and is able to execute it correctly. Game number 1, we've got the Mecha'thun Warlock up against the Shutterwalk Shaman from Cydonia. The point of this deck is to get double Galvanizer down to reduce the cost of your Mecha'thun to 8. Then you play, after you've drawn all of the cards in your deck, Mecha'thun, Blood Bloom, and Cataclysm to destroy all minions on the board. You have to be above 4 life, because if you're not, the Cataclysm will kill you. But this is probably the most consistent of the Mecha'thun decks without the use of Hemet. Hemet Jungle Hunter and the Priest, of course, gives it the explosive potential to win the game by turn 10. This deck's going to be a little bit slower, but the nature of life tap is going to naturally accelerate things.
And that's the reason why you've seen, you know, Mecha'thun Warlock pop up in and out of either ladder games or just kind of competitive play, is because out of the archetypes that can run the Mecha'thun engine, I guess you could call it, any way to kind of cheat out Mecha'thun and also destroy it in the same turn, Warlock is, I would say, the 3rd best at doing it. I think there's Druid is the best, and I think Priest does the 2nd best. Of course, Priest has to rely on Hemet, and if it doesn't have the Hemet, then it can really struggle. But Warlock has life tap, and you can play a bunch of cards that just draw cards through the deck, like we see the Novice Engineer, the Blood Mage, and the Loot Hoarder. I mean, this deck is literally 2 mana, draw cards. I can't describe it any. Even the Hero Power is 2 mana, draw cards.
Yep, and the bonus of this deck is that Cataclysm means that you don't have to play all of the cards from your hand to win the game, and you don't have to full clear your board before Mecha'thun comes down. So it's a really cool deck. And it does have a very good matchup against Shutterwalk Shaman. The Shutterwalk Shaman needs to get all of their combo pieces really, really fast and have that Shutterwalk ready to go by turn 10, which rarely happens.
I mean, now that I'm looking at it in Phenom's lineup, he queued up this Warlock first. Warlock is going to be good against Shutterwalk Shaman. The Warlock will probably struggle against Hunter a little bit, I would say. And then against Warrior, I'm pretty sure all of Phenom's decks just completely trounce Warrior. I don't even think Warrior has
a
like
sliver of a
5
chance.
to 10% chance to beat any of these decks. It's absolutely insane.
Maybe
you see Cydonia
Quest
here.
Druid?
Maybe. I could see the Quest Druid just because you can remove all the threats eventually. But you see Cydonia here respecting the draw so much that he just hexes an Acolyte of Pain. There's not many targets in the deck to hex, but he just needs to stop this draw. They really is a race for the combo right now.
Every minion in this deck plays an important role. Either it draws cards or it removes minions. And the Acolyte of Pain is the only real minion that you can hex, you know, other than a voodoo doll that's been played to try and kill one of your minions that you just want to get rid of it, and you know, you don't have Earthshock at that point.
I almost wouldn't have minded to see Phenom potentially hold the Acolyte of Pain. A lot of times you can do some kind of cheeky play with Acolyte of Pain Defile. It's kind of reminiscent of what Shutterwalk Shaman would do with Acolyte of Pain Volcano. You play it on a turn where you know you can get multiple draws out of it, and I think that's very important that maybe Phenom should have, you know, taken a second look at.
Unity, precision, perfection.
The greatest part about this deck is you don't have to worry about playing cards. For instance, in Mecha'thun Druid, what would happen a lot of times is you'd kind of get to the ending stages of the game, and then after that, you would have like Spreading Plague in your hand, or you'd have like a Malfurion, and your opponent could just literally leave those cards up. With this version of Mecha'thun, you don't necessarily have to play all the cards in your hand because Cataclysm will discard them.
Yeah, you can hold back a lot more resources, and as soon as you draw through your entire deck, it's pretty much go time, assuming you have more than 4 life. Cydonia is going to try to pressure as much as he can, but having not found the Saronite just yet, or a Zola, or that Shutterwalk, it's still going to take him a substantial amount of time to be able to close this one out.
He will have a little bit of time. Fenom does have to rapidly draw through his deck. Now, like I said, as you can see here, every card essentially besides Mecha'thun reads draw on it. I mean, Kobold Librarian, Novice Engineers, the Blood Mage, Loot Hoarder, the list just goes on and on and on.
Just want to spit cards out onto the board as fast as you possibly can. One Galvanizer played already on that Mecha'thun, reduce it to 9. Cataclysm in hand, draw through the deck, find Blood Bloom, find second Galvanizer to discount Mecha'thun, profit.
Win.
That's the profit.
Next game. And then do it again. And you keep doing it until your opponent respects the Mecha'thun. It's almost just a Mecha'thun lineup. Already got 2 Mecha'thun decks.
Might as well just have 2 more Mecha'thun
Just
decks.
have 2 more Mecha'thun decks. The only other one that can do it consistently, besides Druid, Priest, and Warlock, is Warrior. But that one sometimes is very finicky.
I've not seen the Warrior one work out.
It never really does.
It's pretty bad.
Most Mecha'thun decks just don't work out if you kind of know what your opponent's doing. You see Fenom there just playing a Doomsayer to make sure that he doesn't burn cards, and you can just use these for draw. He's just trying to get rid of his own draw cards. I wouldn't be surprised to see Cydonia just hex the Loot Hoarder here.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
As crazy as that sounds, I mean,
Keep
you just have
Fenom
to
one
not
deck
draw.
or one card more shallow in the deck.
Could potentially hex the Doomsayer as well. And hear me out on this one. If you hex the Doomsayer, you leave this board state up, and you try and live long enough, that way you assemble your combo, and you lock Phenom's board state. The only issue with that is defiles a card, so disregard everything I just said. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
You hexed the Loot Hoarder. Am I selling you on this?
I'm not quite buying, Jay.
The only reason I said that is there's very fringe scenarios where that can work in kind of certain matchups. One of those matchups I remember being reminiscent of is Hunter versus Warrior, like odd Warrior versus Death Rattle Hunter. There's sometimes scenarios where if they cube an egg, you can lock up their board with 7 eggs, and if they don't have a flanking strike left, they can't play anything for the rest of the game. I almost did that in a tournament. I felt so proud of myself. And then it didn't happen.
I'm sorry.
I was sorry, too. I almost fired Dynamatic. He only had to kill a 4-1. And he
Couldn't do
hit
it.
3 targets on a 0-3 egg. I sat there, I was
Dang
like,
it,
what are you
Dynamatic.
doing, Dynamatic? Why do you do this to me?
Life tap every single turn for Fenom. Still digging for Blood Bloom and that second Galvanizer.
Just gonna... He should have played this the other way. I guess he doesn't care. It doesn't matter. I'm thinking he should have played this the other way around. I guess there's some fringe scenario where...
I mean, what kills the Voodoo Doll that doesn't kill the Doomsayer Lightning Storm? Agatha. Pretty inconsequential. Take the opportunity to draw off the Volcano and the Acolyte. Cydonia still not finding the pieces that he needs. Needs Sauronite, needs Shudderwalk, needs Zola. 15
Definitely
cards
needs a
for
lot of those.
Cydonia, 8 cards for Fenom. That means Cydonia dies when Fenom draws the last, now 7 cards of his deck.
And he's just going to keep... I wouldn't be surprised to see him go Acolyte, Drain Soul the Acolyte. I mean, I feel like at this point you might as well just keep drawing cards. That is the name of the game. And if you're worried about overdrawing, you can even fit in a life tap, and you can just Dark Pact the Kobold Librarian. That way you don't necessarily overdraw. Feels like a awkward game of solitaire. Where you're trying to put the
Neither of these guys are really playing against each other right now.
you just Mortal Coil your own.
They're playing against their own decks.
They're both just trying to draw each other's decks completely.
Phenom's got exactly 9 cards in hand. Cydonia has no way to force Fenom to draw. He has no disruption. I'm not seeing a way out of this one for Cydonia.
This is literally 2 people playing solitaire right now, trying to see, I can get to solitaire first.
Cydonia cannot get the solitaire first.
I don't know, maybe.
Nope. Lord Godfrey. or Voodoo Doll Defile, or Galvanizer Mortal Coil Defile. I don't know, take your pick.
I definitely want this Mortal Coil to draw, though. I will say that much. I mean, honestly, it's not even that bad to leave up 2 minions of Cydonia's side, because then when the Shutterwalk occurs, if there's Zol in the pool, it's more likely to whiff. And if there's Grumble, you could technically try and overdraw.
Jace, there's 3 cards in Phenom's deck.
There's 3?
There's 3 cards.
When did you see that?
When Cydonia just frantically hovered over both decks.
3?
Yeah.
He's got it next turn.
Yeah.
3?
Yeah.
Not 4, not
Nope.
5, not 6.
I believe it is 3.
This is where
I'm not going to bet money on it. My eyes, I need to go to the eye doctor. I got to get some new contacts, maybe a new pair of glasses, but
3.
I think it said 3.
And those 3 right now are insert draw card here, Blood Bloom, insert draw card here.
Yes. Phenom's still going to have to wait until...
Is there any Shaman spell that could get him out of this? Maybe if he Eurekas and then
Finders,
somehow
Keepers
Eureka...
You
hits
can't
his
Finders
opponent's
Keepers
hand.
Gnome for Atu. You can't Finders Keepers for anything that discovers a Warlock spell to get you Demonic Project. And Cydonia can't put Phenom down to 4 health. So... this is looking pretty much over.
Yeah. This is absolutely absurd. Yeah, that's just game. As for people who have not seen this, we explained it earlier. What's going to happen is Phenom is going to play the Mechathune, play the Blood Bloom, sacrifice 4 health to play Cataclysm, and then Mechathune's effect is going to go off as all the cards will be gone and Mechathune will be destroyed.
And then he wins the game.
And then he wins the game.
It's a big condition to meet, but when you do, you are rewarded greatly. Phenom taking game number 1. Not even looking like Cydonia was playing the same game there
They were
at all.
Like I said, they were both playing Solitaire. One person was just better at Solitaire than the other.
I mean, Phenom was... he just drew through his entire deck before Cydonia had, like, anything. I mean, Cydonia had 13, 14 cards left in the deck. Phenom was done. That's how fast that Warlock Mechathune build can go. And that's why I say, arguably, it's the most consistent. Priest has a higher ceiling for potential. Priest can finish the combo quicker. They need Hemet on turn 6. This Warlock deck, it will take you a little bit more time on average, but on average, you're going to get to your finisher when sometimes the Priest just simply will not.
That is true.
And how does Cydonia want to counter this? It's got to be the Hunter.
It's got to be the Hunter, because if that Warrior queues into any 3 of these decks, it will most likely lose.
It will 100% lose.
I'm pretty sure this Hunter is going to have to sweep Phenom's entire lineup. The fact that the Shaman is gone is just a big uh-oh for Cydonia. This Hunter has to sweep.
The Shaman really wanted to match up against the Druid or the Mage. Shaman against either of those decks, I think, would have had a fair shot. Shaman against the Warlock is honestly probably the worst possible matchup for the Shutterwalk Shaman.
I don't know. The Mage is also pretty bad, because the Mage essentially does the same thing. The Mage will draw to its combo potentially faster than the Shutterwalk Shaman will. So I think the Shaman's best matchup was the Druid. I've actually, as crazy as this sounds, I have played that matchup before. I know, right? Crazy.
I don't think it sounds crazy.
I think it sounds crazy.
I think Quest Druid can definitely get beaten by Volcano, Hex, Stall, some Hagatha value.
It's not necessarily that. Sometimes that's not enough. The Volcanoes won't be enough when they complete their thing. What it is you have to give Glacial Shards in the pool, and when you play Shutterwalks, you keep bouncing them back and forth, either waiting for Life Drinker or just constantly freezing the minions on board, or MC teching them. That's how you win that matchup.
If you give the Shutterwalk enough time, there's nothing that it can't beat. But this Warlock deck just is not intended to give any time. And the hand from Cydonia, very weak. Very, very weak. This
Weak
is a matchup where Devilsaur Egg plus Terror Scale Stalker works wonders. Phenom's not running any silence. Difficult for him to piece apart boards with Death Rattle minions on them.
That's why I think the Hunter has a chance, is that in the previous matchup, Cydonia wouldn't be able to put as much pressure on because it's Shutterwalk Shaman. A lot of times Shutterwalk Shaman can pressure their opponent. One of the big issues with that, however, is you need like the Prince Keleseth start into a Serenite Chain Gang, something reminiscent of that. But this Hunter deck will put on pressure more consistently because that's what it does. So I think Fenom has a very legitimate chance with, Cydonia has a very legitimate chance with this matchup. However, he's then going to have to beat the Druid and the Mage. It's going to be a tall
long road
to order, because this Warrior, unless it somehow squeezes a win against Druid, is not beating the other decks. No. I'm confident in saying
No. Warrior does not beat this Warlock. Warrior does not beat Quest Mage. Quest Mage is very different than Freeze Mage, folks.
The best storyline I think I could ever ask for is somehow seeing this Warrior, Cydonia, Sidonia's down 2-0, and he's just thinking about it. He's like, I got a reverse sweep with an Odd Warrior against 3 decks that have 99% chance against Odd Warrior. Maybe he does it. Probably not.
I would say crazier things could happen.
I wouldn't say crazier things could happen.
I don't know that they could.
I don't think they could.
Warrior does not win those matchups. It just doesn't.
I think they're worse than the old Control Warrior versus Freeze Mage.
Yes. 100%. Yes.
Worse. I think he could beat Druid, but that's just because sometimes Druid can't get the quest done quick enough, which is not often. Because when I played that matchup, and I believe I played Shaman, the quest was done like turn. No, I played Warrior. The quest was done on like turn 6.
It's fast. They're using Cursed Disciples.
You would have thought it was like Quest Rogue. I'm waiting for the 5/5s and the 4/4s to come out of the deck.
Cydonia is trying to pressure as much as he can, but he just wasn't given much so far this series. The Shaw is the first real threat that he's presenting on the board. And for the first time, Phenom's having to think about how does he remove this? How does he deal with this threat? He didn't have to remove any minions in the last game.
He's definitely looking at this Defile play here. I do like it does full clear the board, allow him to draw 3 in the process.
Acolyte does draw cards even if it takes damage after it is technically died here, which is, or no, when does that happen?
Wild Pyromancer.
Wild Pyromancer, that's what it is.
If Wild Pyromancer dies, spoiler alert to anyone in the puzzle laughs.
Yeah. That's a puzzle you run into. Okay, so it doesn't work for Defile, but it works for Pyro with Acolyte.
Because if that were the case, then Pyro Volcano would be He just draw 15 cards. Uh-oh, indeed. No, it's I know it's Wild Pyromancer. I'm sure there's some very other fringe case scenarios.
Yeah, it's a weird interaction.
Mind if I roll knee?
I mean, Fenom just goes, okay, nice Grizzly. I'm just gonna keep drawing cards. You do you.
Cydonia manages to shut down the Mossy Horror at least. Or shut down the Acolyte with the Mossy Horror. Mecha'thun found 1 Galvanizer in the hand.
I am a little curious though if it's stronger for Fenom to hold on to the Acolyte of Pains to enable them with Defile, because he kind of did run that out there into the Mossy Horror.
This is definitely a matchup where a win condition for Cydonia is just get Fenom down below 4 or at 4 or below when Fenom wants to go for the Mecha'thun turn.
And the reason that is because Blood Bloom will not be able to cast Cataclysm if you don't have enough life to work with. So as long as you have 5 or above, you're good. But the minute you've got 4 life, you physically cannot do your win condition. It's a bit of a bummer, but makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, this deck
okay
needs
for
to
a
have,
tie to come out of that.
This needs to have some sort of check. The Galvanizer plus Ziliax, yes, last turn really did a nice job clearing up the board, healed Fenom up a little bit. This still isn't a ton of pressure from Cydonia, but it's starting to add up. Phenom's getting a little bit uncomfortable, having a hard time dealing with this.
If I'm Phenom here, I'm looking at this life tap hero power, and I'm trying to figure out every turn I can use it. You can do Drain Soul, Defile life tap. Looks like Phenom's going to want to go for this. This is, you know, delaying the life tap hero power, but it does say, you know what, if you've got Katharina, I'm taking your Katharina out right now.
Deathstalker Rexar starts to put some more threats into Cydonia's hand, but it's going to take some time to get them. He's still only sitting on 8 mana, so the bigger beasts that he wants to build and play might not even be playable just yet.
Sometimes building beasts is too slow for what Phenom's trying to do. He's going to keep life tapping away. Could just use the Drain Soul and the Mortal Coil onto the Wolf. I don't mind that. Try and find a Kobold Librarian, that way the Spellstoke can be enabled later on. I like drawing cards, Cora, and I'm trying to draw cards here.
Oh, Phenom's trying to draw cards. Cydonia's making it kind of difficult. Lord Godfrey at any point is going to be really good.
I think he drew another card that drew cards.
He drew Kobold Librarian into a Novice Engineer.
That also draws cards, Cora.
Yes, it does. He's still cycling pretty quickly. This is really got to be Katharina here for Cydonia.
Oh, that's a King Crush. I think you have to take it.
Plus play, or cube plus Play Dead puts 2 more 3/3s on the board.
I think you take King Crush because Phenom's deck does not have a physical way of answering that card besides Voodoo Doll. And it would have to be like Voodoo Doll Dark Pact, and that thing pushes 8. 8, Cora.
It does, and he's pushing 5 this turn.
8.
Cydonia would... He doesn't necessarily want to give up his hero power because it is a consistent source of damage. He kind of has to. He's running low on minions, and the hero power is not enough to win the game for him.
8, Cora.
Yes, 8 damage, Chase.
I hope you like my invention.
Phenom finds the Godfrey. And there's the Voodoo Doll. So Voodoo Doll Dark Pact can kill the King Crush.
I think he's going to play the Lord Godfrey here just to kind of clean up this Wolf. Doesn't want to take any excess damage that he doesn't need to. Because he's definitely going to be fitting in life taps in the future turns. I believe there's another Voodoo Doll left. I believe there is... No, the other Voodoo Doll was used on the Doomsayer earlier on, wasn't it? Or was that a different game? I think that... No, that was the Shaman game. So there is another Voodoo Doll left. There is the Blood Bloom left. There's another Galvanizer. Not sure how many cards are left after that. I believe it's 6 or 8 I saw. Cydonia is really quick with his hover.
Getting close.
I don't think Cydonia knows he hovered over it.
It's more of a courtesy hover. It's a hover out of instinct, not necessarily a hover because he wants to know how much time he has. This is a bad beast. Cydonia was looking for a Tundra Rhino plus Stealth. And then really big stuff every turn from here on out.
If you're Cydonia here and you lose this matchup and you have to queue up Warrior, you just insta-concede and just say, you know, my Dreamhack run was great.
You don't insta-concede, but...
Yeah, my Dreamhack run was pretty good.
If Cydonia loses this game, he's getting 3-0'd by Mechathune Warlock.
How many people can say they got 3-0'd by Mechathune Warlock?
Cydonia can.
Probably everybody Phenom.
One person.
You don't know that.
Maybe it happened earlier.
Might have happened a lot from the way Phenom's record's looking.
That's looking pretty good. I know he did lose right at the beginning of today, I think his first match.
I don't even mind Drain Souling the... Why not?
What do you have to lose? If Phenom finds the second Voodoo Doll, he has Dark Pact. There's the Galvanizer to discount Mechathune. Still looking for Blood Bloom. That's the last piece of the puzzle.
8 damage, Cora. Going to the face.
Voodoo Doll Dark Pact.
That is a potential line of play. I think it's going to happen. I would not be surprised to see the Voodoo Doll Dark Pact come out here.
Doomsayer's nice too.
Doomsayer to boot. Galvanizer hero-powered Doomsayer. Phenom is just posting right now. 2 cards left in deck.
He's got this next turn. Can Cydonia deal 10 damage here? Is there any beast that he could find that could deal... Not 10. Let's not get greedy. Is there any beast he could find that could deal 9 damage? We're looking Stardust 4 Bitter Tide Hydra right now. Nope.
Corpse Widow Stone Tusk Boar.
There's the boar.
Was Corpse Widow Stone Tusk Boar enough? I don't think it was.
As 5. And he needs 9. He needed Stone Tusk Boar, Bitter Tide Hydra.
Trying to think if there was anything else. Off the top of my head, I can't think of it.
I don't think so.
Does Fenom have 1 card left in the deck, or will he? No, he'll draw his last card this turn.
Yes, he will. This is his last draw, and that means he can play Mecha'thun, Bloodbloom, Cataclysm. 2 in a row. Fenom is finishing with this Mecha'thun combo. And now Cydonia has to play what could be the most one-sided matchup that we have the pleasure of seeing here today. Odd Warrior versus this Mecha'thun Warlock.
This is a sad day for Cydonia fans all across the world.
Let me look at Cydonia's Warrior deck.
You don't even need to look at it.
He's not running cubes, so...
Don't. Just stop looking at it.
Yeah, there's no cubes. So, there's mess up.
He messes up.
I don't think he's going to mess up, because how nervous can he really be feeling right now when he's this massively favored? And I mean, it might be maybe overconfidence could get him. But even that is incredibly unlikely.
The worst and funniest part about this is that even if Fenom loses this, the Odd Warrior has to sweep a Quest Druid
And a Quest Mage.
and a Quest Mage.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if when Cydonia saw this lineup, he just went, ah, hell. Put his hand over his eyes and, like, whirled his finger around and just landed on one of the decks and was like, all right, I'm banning this.
I think he banned Priest because Priest is probably the most known across the field. I think Priest is probably the most, played against out of all these decks.
Yeah.
Warlock is one of those you see every now and then.
And then there's Quest Mage and Quest Druid. Because why not?
Okay. Okay, I've got a word from production. Production is smarter than the casters right now. Production is saying Stonehill Defender.
Yes.
Into Lich King.
Yes. Death Grip.
Into Death Grip.
That's the chance.
Into
That's
taking one of the pieces.
That's how Sintalal did it against Luker's Mecha'thun Priest.
Thank you, production.
Mind if I roll need?
It's an out.
It's an out.
It's not an awesome one, but it is an out.
Oh, it would be an awesome one. And then Cydonia just has to do that 3 more times. 3 more times.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance.
This is a sweet hand from Fenom, too. He's found the card draw. He's got them stalled, but this entire deck is card draw.
I will say, though, very minor detail. I don't necessarily agree with playing Loot Hoarder here. I think any turn you can fit in a life tap,
Probably
you
should.
do that.
Because eventually you'll be able to life tap and play Loot Hoarder.
Exactly.
Owl silences the Loot Hoarder, and then essentially Fenom did miss out on a card draw. Bloodbloom, double Galvanizer already amassed for Fenom, looking for Mecha'thun, Cataclysm.
Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Dynamatic can come out here,
Whoa,
burn a card, and if it burns one of the key pieces... Okay, okay, if it's Cataclysm or Mecha'thun, those are the 2 pieces right now. Oh, there's a chance.
Whoa!
Oh, no, there was a chance.
Dang, look at
I think Fenom got a little careless there.
Jeez. Cydonia could have burned an extra card if he hadn't silenced Loot Hoarder, but he didn't know there was another Acolyte of Pain in hand.
And he doesn't expect Fenom to just outright play the Acolyte of Pain like that.
Kind of reckless.
Fenom is thanking his stars right now.
He's just got to let that one slide off. A little bit of oversight on his part. Wasn't punished for it.
Trying to think of some mech. All right.
That one.
Which one are you pointing to? Because I don't think any of them are going to matter right
Not
now.
that one.
Not that one. That one.
That one.
You think we can race them?
Yeah, do you have double Galvanizer, Bloodbloom, Cataclysm in your deck? And also Life Tap?
And also all of your cards redraw a card?
Then yeah, I think we got a great chance.
Maybe. I was going to try and find some way to get Togwaggle, but that's not a possibility.
No. No, that's Unfortunately,
Okay, hear me out,
I
hear me out,
think
hear me out.
Sidonia's only chance was
Hear
that burn.
me out.
Yes.
Elise into
'Kay.
immediately drawing the pack, into Explore on Goru.
Yep.
Into Discover Togwaggle. And then you just die in fatigue.
Yes. Because you give your full deck to your opponent, and you take their deck with like 2 cards in it.
But maybe you take the
So-
Mecha'thun.
How do we possibly get Gnome Feratu? Is there a way to do that? Or Demonic Project? How do we do that? Or Rin. Weaponized Pinata.
Okay.
So we need to find Weaponized Pinata, get Rin, play all of the
Weaponized
seals,
Pinata
which
can
takes
also
like
give
4 turns,
Togwaggle.
plus then you have to play Azari. And then destroy the deck that has a combo piece still remaining in it. And if it doesn't, then you destroy their deck, and then Fenom wins because he has no deck.
We're coming up with outs. I'll let you know if production hits us up in the ear with any more outs as well.
Thank you. This is going to get Voodoo Dolled. Voodoo Doll plus Drain Soul, Voodoo Doll plus Dark Pact. Take your pick.
Voodoo Doll plus insert card here. I mean, to be honest, if you're Phenom in this spot, you are a little kind of nervous, especially after that almost blunder earlier on. And you're just like kind of thinking of everything. There's Azalina in the deck. Now, Azalina doesn't do anything.
No.
At first, you would think, my first reaction was, oh, maybe there's something. But the reason Azalina doesn't do anything is because the way this combo works is you would have to have no cards in your deck. Now, Azalina can take the entire combo from Phenom, but Cydonia will still have 15 cards left in his deck, which means he can't perform it fully.
Man, we are really trying here.
I mean, I think you just Azalina.
What now?
You're not doing anything else this turn.
If Fenom is running a copy of Gnome Feratu or a copy of Demonic Project, but he is not.
Can you
Absolutely
imagine
not.
the deck that just...
Like, why did I put this in my deck? This was a terrible idea. Not
Mistakes were made.
in the drafting phase. Cydonia's got 19 cards left in his deck. Phenom has 8 or 6.
6. That was 6.
6. It's like he just drew 2 more cards.
Okay, he does have to just play a card from his hand.
Just a file.
Either that or Ziliax. Could just go Defile Ziliax. You have to be careful though, because you can't just Defile Life Tap, because you would put yourself too many cards. You would have to go like Drain Soul, the 2/1, Life Tap, then Defile, in order to make sure that you didn't burn that card.
That's totally fine.
Looks like he's just gonna go for Lord Godfrey. You know, he wants the pressure on the board.
Sure.
Really wants that pressure.
I don't think there was a bad play there for Phenom. Maybe he should have dumped a Defile and a Drain Soul and drawn an extra card. Life Tap. He doesn't have to. He's still waiting for that Mecha'thun, then he can drop double Galvanizer. He's got Blood Bloom. He needs to find Cataclysm as well.
He's got 6 cards left. He only needs 2 of them. Well, I mean, obviously he needs all of them.
Oh my gosh, he's so unlucky. 2 of his combo pieces are in the bottom 6.
I hate it when that happens.
Gosh, it's the worst.
Sidonia's lucky it's in the bottom 6. I know we're joking a lot here, but it's just very unfortunate for Cydonia. There is virtually nothing he can do in this matchup. He took his one out. He made sure to try and burn 1 card.
It was
And
close.
It was very close. If it was one of those cards,
That was, quite honestly, his best chance to be able to win this game. I still do not think there was a world where Cydonia reverses this series. The odds were just so incredibly against him.
maybe if Dirty Rat was still a card.
Oh, if Dirty Rat was still a card, Phenom would not have brought this deck. You couldn't play it in Odd Warrior, but is Dirty Rat good enough for a different warrior to be played then?
Probably.
Maybe. Dirty Rat's just really good. So Cydonia knows everything that Fenom has.
He's looking at that Mecha'thun right now saying, curse you.
At this point,
Curse you, Mecha'thun. How could you do this to me? Thought we were friends.
Cydonia's racking his brain. We've been trying to think of something. I don't think there is anything.
I hate to say it, but I don't think there's anything either.
This was just 3 of the most one-sided games. One-sided in a different way, though. It's not like it's an odd paladin 3-0 like we saw from Gallon versus Saiyan.
You know, where there's a little bit of back and forth in the game, and you might see where it could go either way.
Yeah.
With this one, I was having a very hard time seeing where it could go either way.
Doomsayer clears the board. Phenom's got 1 card left in his deck.
Doesn't matter what he plays, as long as he passes the turn. Next turn, he's won the game.
Final card is Cataclysm. So just play whatever so that you guaranteed don't die and don't overdraw. And then Cydonia will not be able to deal 24 damage. Cydonia will not be able to burn the final card in Phenom's deck. And for the 3rd consecutive game, Fenom will make Mecha'thun magic.
This is... I have seen more Mecha'thun wins in this series of Hearthstone than I have in my entirety of playing Hearthstone. I've seen more Mecha'thuns win games in this series than I've seen any other player win with Mecha'thun.
I saw a quad Mecha'thun series in TESPA 2 weeks ago. Not a single one of those Mecha'thuns activated. Fenom hits 3, 4, 3. He's taken this series going 7-2 in the Swiss. Depending on tiebreakers, looking really good for that top 16 cut. What a unique lineup from Fenom. That was awesome. Well, okay, what a unique deck. Because we didn't get to see the rest of his lineup. He just 3-0'd Cydonia.
Cydonia was out of there, he said.
Bye, I'm gone.
Okay. There's not much you can